Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. What's up guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a overall crypto market review. Today I am going to be reviewing where altcoins are at in the cycle, how much longer I think we have for alt season, just some overall thoughts of what to look for and more. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert. Do your own research. So before, in some other crypto market reviews, I talked a lot about overall seasonality for altcoins. As you can see in this chart here, this is the inverted Bitcoin dominance chart. So when price goes up, this basically is good for altcoins. Generally speaking, when you're looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, when Bitcoin dominance goes up, it is negative for altcoins, and when Bitcoin dominance goes down, it is positive for altcoins. This is inverted, so whenever this price goes up, it's good for altcoins. So as you can see in this chart here, December and January, altcoins do very well, and this has been a cycle for the last 4 years. And this all probably started off in the greatest alt season of all time in 2017 going into 2018, and this is always a time period when alts generally do well, and I think it's a pretty good strategy in general to accumulate altcoins around November and early December, and I think that it's generally a good strategy, and it's been proven to be well over the last 4 years. Of course, it's a small sample, so you can't really say that it's going to be, you know, like the best strategy every single year. You know, context does matter, but it's something to always look out for. After the big run up in December and January, you see an altcoin period, cooling period for about 1 month. You saw that in 2018, you saw it in 2019, saw it in 2020. And these periods last about 1 month, and they usually start at different times depending on when the cycle started. So for instance, in 2018, altcoins started to go off around mid-early December, and then it had the cooling period around January. So it pumped for about a month, and then you had the cooling period for about a month. 2019, mid-December is when it started to pop off, and it went all the way to February. And then February to late March is when it cooled off. So again, about a 1 month period. And right now, and then after that, you see a big springtime pump around March and April. So again, 2018, same thing happened. 2019, same thing happened, starting around early February. And then in 2020, we saw a good period in March. So March all the way to late April. So where are we at in the cycle right now? We just had a great season for altcoins, and this happened all throughout January. Everything was popping off. I was fairly certain that things were not going to pop off until Bitcoin was done doing its thing. And lo and behold, once Bitcoin hit $40,000 and then started to pull back, we saw altcoins really go off. Huge buy volume overall. And altcoins just really had tremendous success in the inverted Bitcoin dominance chart. With that said, you know, so starting in late December and now kind of mid-February right now, I'm starting to wonder if we are about to reach this red period here. And as shown in previous years, this lasts for about 4 to 6 weeks. And it's entirely possible that we see altcoins start to pull back. Now, there's several things to talk about in terms of context. These previous years, 2019, 2020, 2018, Bitcoin was always in a bearish to accumulation market structure. So like, when it was in January 2019, it was an accumulation. Bitcoin was an accumulation. And in February of 2020, that was right around the COVID special when basically Bitcoin just dumped. I can't remember what exact date it was. Let's take a look. This is all messy, sorry. I'll just pull up another chart. There we go. Okay. What the hell? Oh, this is not. Okay. Jesus. How hard is it to just pull up a Bitcoin chart? All right. So we were looking at February. This is what happened in February. February 10th is when it started to basically top out and start pulling back. So at this point, I mean, this was kind of a neutral market structure. It's probably a bearish one, honestly, from the highs of 2019. I mean, this was still making lower highs. So again, bearish market structure here. We'll just mark this red. Accumulation market structure here, market kind of gray because it was neutral. And then in February, I mean, this was just all bearish. So that's the important thing to understand in terms of context, is that when Bitcoin has, or I'm sorry, when altcoins had these market cycles before, where it pumped off in December and January, and then it cooled in February to March, it was never in this insanely bullish Bitcoin market structure that we're seeing right now. So this is almost like a uncharted territory. You can maybe compare it back to 2016, but the market is very different then and now, given the overall infrastructure, given the overall dynamics, and given the overall technology and what the market is really comprised of in terms of the altcoins. And that's something to understand in general, is that the context for Bitcoin is different than these previous years. So in general, I'm still neutral. I would not be surprised to see this cool off. And if altcoins do cool off, it would probably mean that Bitcoin is probably pulling back a little bit. And that's certainly possible. I don't know where or when Bitcoin is going to start pulling back, but I wouldn't be surprised, if it does. Going from 30K, at the bottom to something like 55 to 60,000 would make sense to me. And then something, maybe a slow grind down. And during this situation, if it were to do something like this, then I would not be surprised at all for altcoins to also follow and start to grind down. Now, does that mean altcoins are done? No, personally, I think that there's still going to be one more push, as there have been the last 3 years. Will this be as strong as the green box that we saw in January? Well, the last 3 years kind of shows that it probably will not be as strong, but I'm not sure. Let's see. I mean, I personally think that all BTC pairs still have some room to go in general, and I guess let's just kind of see what happens in terms of this pullback. But the bottom line is that I wouldn't be surprised at all to see altcoins pull back, and there's some other charts as well. Here's an example right here of Sol. Sol has gone, from $1 to $10, so like a 10x in the span of basically 2 months. Pulling back is not necessarily like a bearish thing. It's really important to understand that the context, everything, an asset cannot just keep going up and up and up and up. There has to be a cooling period. There has to be a reaccumulation. Higher lows have to be formed, and this is a chart right here where I would not be surprised at all if Solana comes to 650. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 550. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 450. And still, that's still fine in the overall grand scheme of things, in the overall context. Now, short-term gains, gains-wise, yes, it's ugly. I mean, you're seeing some high sell volume come in overall. You're going to see some high sell volume start to dominate, in my opinion, if this starts heading down. And it's okay, though, in terms of letting the EMAs and everything reset. Generally speaking, you might see something like this. Bounce, And what you basically want to see is for price to find a bottom and range a little bit. And when you see this type of price action, it's generally pretty bullish in the overall context of things. And I'm going to show you some other charts here of what we're going to be looking for in the reactions of what to expect. But in the short term, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Solana pull back. And not just Solana, really anything. I mean, if you pull up a chart on literally any other coin, these coins all just look super overextended. And there's going to be exceptions, like for instance, DOT. This coin is an exception, in my opinion. Like this chart still looks really good. And this chart just like reaccumulated back all throughout mid-January to early February, and now it's still expanding. I mean, this chart is an anomaly compared to the rest of the altcoin market. If you look at other coins, like some of the, like AAVE, for instance, let's pull up this one. Okay, here's AAVE. Like, tell me this is sustainable. No, of course not. I mean, it's going from $80 to $600 in the span of like 2 months. No way. I mean, this is not like a healthy price action at all. And it's not surprising at all to see this pull back. And as I say in many of my other videos, support gets weaker and weaker each time that price touches it. It would not surprise me at all to see this 420 level fall out. In fact, I'm expecting it, maybe tiny bounce. And now it's going to go to this next point of liquidity, which really is nothing. I mean, there's not too much price history right here around 370. There's probably some micro levels on lower time frame charts. I wouldn't be surprised if you scale down to like the 5 minute or something. There's some levels around here. And it's important to note too, though, that price already kind of tapped this area right here. So in the overall context of things, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see price kind of reset over to, 300, possibly 250. And that's again, it's okay. It's bearish in the short term, but it's still okay. And you can also see too, there's just sell volume dominating. Like, look here. Like, you can see sell volume dominating every single time. So overall, like, I'm personally thinking that alts pull back another, 20% or something like that, at least. And again, that's still fine. I mean, it depends on where you're at, and it depends on your entry, and it depends on your overall trading strategy. If you're swing trading, maybe it's time to take some profits. It's not a bad thing to do, and you can always buy back lower. And if you start to see price kind of just start to ping pong and range, then you can maybe decide on getting back in. And I'm going to show you guys a few different charts of what you basically want to see if you do think that price is going to keep going up. So THETA is a perfect example of bullish accumulation. You see these big price runs, huge price run there, or price just 7 cents, 6 cents to 60 cents. Incredible run in a short amount of time. And then you see a bullish accumulation. And after you see this bullish accumulation, price runs again. And you see price run again. And what happens after that? You see more bullish accumulation. And this is basically what you're going to be looking for here. If you're looking at a lot of these altcoins, you're going to be looking for, these big runs, which is what price just did for many of these altcoins. And then you see price pulling back. And you can use fib levels if you want. You can use EMAs if you want. You can use all sorts of strategies. You can just use straight SR lines. Like, look, you can see price basically from this fib area, price accumulated around the 0.5 level. It dipped lower at times, but it just accumulated and just basically ranged for quite some time. And then once again, had a big run. Now, what's THETA doing? What did it do again in February, or January to February? It ranged again, bullish accumulation. Now it's having a run. And I think the THETA actually looks better than many other altcoins because it has had these accumulation periods where price basically is just ranged and then it's having to run. So this is basically what you want to look for in terms of something like Sol, as an example before. Big run that it had, and this fib could be off too. I mean, I could be fibbing from the exact bottom. It's, I mean, it's generally speaking, when you want to go through big retraces, it's fine to do these big, like a full retrace of the entire fib, but it's kind of dependent. I think I might like this one more anyway. This is like the impulse move, so this might be like a better fib in general. And you usually want to go always, obviously, to where price respects the fibs, and this looks fine. So this, in the grand context of things, makes it look like, you know, $6 and $6.81 and $6. I'm pretty sure that $6.81 will get tapped and $6 will get tapped too. This is a pretty good fib in my opinion, because you want to go start fibbing from the impulse breakout, and that's really kind of what happened. You can see with the big volume. So anyways, what you want to see for something like Solana is for it to come on down, and then you basically want to see this price action. And this is not bearish by any means. This is, again, this is what Theta has done. Big move up, accumulate, big move up, accumulate, big move up, accumulate. And it's going to just keep having this type of price action. This is like a good textbook example of what you basically want to see for altcoins. And this is going to be telling how these altcoins start to react, because many charts look like this chart, the Solana chart. I mean, many coins went 10x over the time period for a lot of reasons. But a cooling period is now coming, and I think it's totally normal and totally fine. But we're going to see what the cooling period looks like. If it starts to find a bottom like this, then I am very confident that we're going to see another March or April springtime pump for altcoins. And it could go higher than it did before. It could hit a double top and then head down. It just kind of depends on the overall context of the market. Now, here is an example of what you do not want to see. This is YFI from Decentralized Finance Summer. Notice how YFI did not really have a long accumulation bottom. It ranged here for a few days before having one last exhaustive pump up to 43,000, and then it headed all the way lower. And if you start going down to lower time frame charts, you can start to see a lot of telling signs here of exhaustion. And it's always very hard to notice this in real time, because you are biased because you just had a massive run where you saw your coin go from, you know, $1 to $10. So you're super rich on paper, and you're euphoric still, probably some remnants of it. And in general, you're probably biased in the sense that you think that, oh, this is just like the low being formed. It's gonna keep going higher. Why not? But if you take a step back and you actually analyze the chart, there are a lot of examples, and these are always easier to find in hindsight too. High sell volume starting to dominate, especially on this move down. And then when you see price rising up again in this context on lowering volume, that's when you know you have a problem. And I'm sure there's some, like, in general, these are like pretty ugly closes as well. And, you know, these aren't really bullish by any means. This is just like distribution. So if price starts to look like this in terms of many other altcoins, this is when it starts to get really scary. And this actually is a chart that I am not going to be surprised at all that we see in March and in April, to be frank and honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see altcoins pull back from, you know, in the next few weeks or days or weeks. I wouldn't at all be surprised to see some sort of accumulation form. And then I would not be surprised at all to see price go up again in March and April, and then potentially just head on all the way back down. And for those that are believing that your altcoin can't go down, well, you're going to learn. To be honest, I mean, someone who's been through several cycles, you're going to see that everything pretty much will go down eventually. I'm not saying it's going to go to zero by any means. I'm just saying that there's going to be ugly retraces. I mean, like, look at YFI. Like, this thing was so fucking bullish in the summer, and it still goes like negative 80% over the course of the next few months. Like, anybody who's played altcoin cycles in the past, you know, just they know. Let's just be honest. Like, you know, you know that a coin will probably pull back. I don't know how far these are going to pull back. I don't know when they're going to pull back. And again, it's possible that there's a new market and there's a new paradigm. But even with Bitcoin being bullish, Bitcoin was still bullish during this time period. That's the important thing to understand. Like, you know, when Bitcoin was having its big run, let's take a look. So Bitcoin was having a run basically from September to, I mean, now really. September to November, Bitcoin was going from like what, 10 to 20. And yeah, I mean, this is basically what happened. Like, even though Bitcoin was going up, alt USD were still tanking. And it was that way for a lot of coins. Some coins, like even DOT, you know, this coin basically just stayed the same during this run. But it's important to also understand that you would have been better holding Bitcoin instead of DOT. This is like the overall up in USD meme, although you're not even up in USD during this cycle, really. You're just kind of neutral. You know, you would have been way up if just holding Bitcoin, if you compared to the DOT BTC chart. Look at this. Like, yeah, that's just pain. And I know because I had some DOT during that time. It's just not good. But in general, what I'm trying to say is what we're going to see is it's important to understand and compare the reactions that we're about to see if altcoins pull back. I do think they're going to pull back personally in the short term. And it's going to be interesting to see what kind of reaction they have. Are they going to have the THETA reaction where you see a long bullish accumulation period, run, bullish accumulation period, run? Or are you going to see something like YFI where you see pullback, short accumulation period, run up, and then the reaction from there? It's going to be very interesting to see if we see altcoins basically come on down, accumulate, run up, accumulate then, and then another run up. Accumulate, another run up. Or are we going to see, you know, pullback, accumulation, run up, distribution? So these are the two charts that you're really going to want to study is YFI and THETA. I think they bring good context to what you want to look for in terms of continuation. Atom BTC is also a great chart as well in terms of looking at overall market cycles. I like that one quite a bit when I'm comparing. But it's important to also understand there are going to be coins that have outliers too. Like DOT just looks really good. No matter how you cut it, this just looks like a good chart in my opinion. It still looks strong. Doesn't look like the bottom is formed yet personally. And as I always say in every video too, it's always going to depend on Bitcoin too. Like if Bitcoin starts pulling back huge, expect altcoins to basically die. If Bitcoin starts going up big, then alt BTC values are going to go down. And I'm expecting some more choppy price action for altcoins. But overall, in summary, what I'm trying to say is that I personally think that altcoins are going to pull back in the short term. It would not surprise me at all to see them go to 0.382 fib, the 0.5 fib. And then I expect them to range for anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. And then I expect them to have another run up in March and April. And what's your strategy right now? I mean, again, I can't give you a blanket strategy. It really depends on your own trading style and what you like to do. If you're swing trading, maybe you take some profits now. If you're scalping, then maybe you consider starting to short a little bit. It's going to really depend on your overall strategy. These are still bullish market structures. That's undeniable. But I will say that caution is something that you should really consider. I mean, a huge sell volume, sell volume starting to dominate. These levels are washed and these are getting picked apart, these support areas, and EMAs are all way lower too. So that's kind of my thoughts on the altcoin market right now. I think that we see short-term pullback, and it's still bullish market structure, but the following reactions are going to be the most important ones in terms of understanding how much longer we have in the cycle and the strength of the overall altcoin market too. And it's also important to understand too, like, except when you're wrong. Like, I was totally wrong for decentralized finance back when alts were pumping, because as I said before, alts had these market cycles where basically the last 2 summers in 2018 and 2019, they basically just died in the summer. And I was expecting that to happen again. I was like, oh, they're just going to die. But no, I was incredibly wrong, and I missed out on early gains. I was able to secure quite a few gains later on before donating them back to the market, a lot of them in the fall. However, those taught me some good lessons and good reminders, and I'm hoping that those reminders will stay with me for this coming season and the rest of the altcoin season. So I hope that you guys got something from this video. It's something that I am happy to do because I've seen a lot of questions on how much longer for alt season. Is it over? Blah, blah, blah. So make sure you guys are just always ready to change gears and always ready to take what the market gives you and be flexible with your overall convictions and flexible with your overall analysis, because it could be totally fucking wrong. And that's okay, because, you know, as traders or investors, and you're going to be wrong a lot, especially in crypto. And understanding that and knowing when to change your overall mindset and opinion and learning from them is the best way for growth. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Again, I appreciate any likes or subscribes to this video and to my channel. Thank you again for the support.